are you, Lam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think about the meeting tonight?
Well, I am glad to be here tonight because all the thank you, Dr. William, that you print the 1146, and thank you, Michelle Steele, for printing the the law to the land, right? So I really like it, and the people can see the 23 speaker tonight. They speak from the against the communists infiltrated our school system. So we are against that. So I hope that people can watch this video and you send it to your children and talk to them and educate them how communist is. So that's good. And I really move tonight all the people that speak their mind, and we cannot stand outside. We need to fight back. Look back in 75, 80 to now. The country that I came is totally different right now. So we need to stand up and fight for the freedom. Freedom is a beacon for, we are losing right now. So we need to fight back. That's all I want to say. And please listen to all the people that talk in this video, and they spread their mind. You just listen and spread it out. Everybody can listen to this, and it's real. It is real, and I'm glad that the Orange County Board of Education have this meeting, and they adopt the Dr. Williams' proposal. I'm very glad that I hope we can fight back and keep us free. Freedom is everything. America is so good for me, but now it's going down. So I'm worried about my children. That's why I would like to come into this board and raise my voice and all of that. So I'm glad that Mr. Lam is doing this, and everybody. I would like to ask people come and do with us and to fight back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, you can take our picture. Are we speaking?
Yes.
We just addressed the Orange County Department of Education. They had HR Bill 1146 by Dr. William and Michelle Steele, which is keeping the Confucius schools, the little red classrooms that started here, I think in 2004. And they had about 143 school districts that had incorporated the communist agenda, the little red classrooms. And so we are in opposition of that. And so this resolution is to make sure that those communist schools are out of our district. Mao Zedong developed in 1938 a 100-year plan to infiltrate and take down the United States, because they couldn't defeat the United States economically or militarily, but they could insidiously take us down like a cancer within the United States. So they infiltrated the schools, the churches, the universities, etc. And so we have got to stand up. America is the last country that is free. We need to be the light on the hill, and we need to stand up for the families and children and for our American values. We have to be alert. We have to take the anti-communism stance and be aware and be looking out and be alert, and to defeat these cancerous cells that are growing inside of America. They brought these 143 school districts that were close to 20 military bases, and they spent over $18 million to try to get these programs into our land. And now they know that we know what they are doing, so they're rebranding the name. Instead of calling them Confucius schools, that they're going to be rebranding them with other names. So we need to stand up for American values. We need to stand up for America, stand up for children and for the families. So no commies in the classrooms, no CCP in the U.S. classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. How about Jesse?
Not Cuba, my USA. Why? 20 years ago, I went to Cuba. When we got off the plane, we went to our hotel room and we went to dinner. The first thing I've noticed about Cuba was the women coming up to me everywhere I went. Day, night, in the morning, women would come up to me and ask me if I wanted to have sex with them. Only $100. This was 20 years ago. Only $100. Only $100, man. I'm like, oh my God. So what does communism do to women? It makes prostitutes out of them. And talking to the people in Cuba, I would ask, well, okay, so how do you get paid? How much do you make? Back then, they told me that they were making $15 a month. $15. How are you going to live off $15 a month? Even 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So that got to my brain, and no wonder women are coming up to me wanting to have sex, because they were charging me $100. I had to tell them, get away, get away. Everywhere I went, though, it doesn't matter. I'm walking through Cuba, looking at all the buildings. Women will come up to me and nudge on me, hey, you know, $100, I'll have sex with you. That's what communism does to women. I mean, to women, yes. And the men making $15 a month, the men were pushing their women into prostitutes. They're pushing their wives into prostitutes. That's what communism does to people, because you can't live off $15 a month. And so I asked him, okay, so well, how do you eat if you know, if you're only making $15 a month? He goes, well, we get free food, but you have to wait 4 hours in long lines to get your food. I go, what about medical? How about if you get sick? Well, sometimes it's free, but most of the time they don't have the medication. They don't have penicillin or antibiotics. They have to wait 2 weeks to get antibiotics because they don't have it in stock. They don't have it in Cuba. They have to bring it in. So that's communism is no bueno, and this is why I say don't Cuba my USA, because if you don't have money, it's going to make women into prostitutes. It's going to make men into hustling. Oh, also, everywhere I went, they were trying to sell me cigars. But the people that worked at the cigar factories, they would steal them and sell them to the tourists. So everywhere I went, everybody tried to sell me cigars, trying to make money. That's what communism does to you, man. It's no bueno.
Okay, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
So with those edits, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Good to have so many of you here with us this evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. Come back to open session. So the board did meet in closed session, but we're back, coming back to open session. I'm glad you could join us. So to get us rolling, we will start with an invocation. I'd like to call forward the Honorable Dennis Cole. Amongst the many hats he's wearing is the chairman of DULA for the Sheriff Advisory Council and director of District Partnership and Operations for us here at the Orange County Department of Education.
Thank you very much. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this time to gather. Thank you for everyone in this room who has a heart to serve our students across Orange County and to serve our communities to make it a better place for all of our families. And we thank you that you are the one who gives us every good thing, that our work and our relationships all come from you. We are so grateful to have a good God who loves us and who gives us this work to do. And so we pray you bless this time as we talk. Give us hearts to listen to each other and ears to hear what you would want us to do, and help us to make wise decisions. And we just pray this in your name. Amen. Amen.
Great. We will proceed now to Pledge of Allegiance. We are honored to have with us the former mayor of Monterey Park, the Honorable Betty Tong Chu, to lead.
Thank you so much. And will all of us please place our right hand, we can all say together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For born and unborn.
For one of the few boards that start their meetings with the invocation. Thank you.
So we'll go to introductions. Nina, are there any introductions this evening?
There are no introductions at this meeting.
Very well. That takes us to public comments. Looks like we have a number of public comments, which is great. So I think what we'll do is have 2 minutes.
We have one general comment and then the 19 are for item 10. So in this time slot, we'll move into what to do.
Why don't we take the comments about item 10 when we get to item 10? Does that sound okay? All right, so we only have one general comment?
That's right. So Len Beckman, you're up.
I don't know where they go. Here?
Yeah, we got a mic for you back there.
Thank you, board, for listening. Testing. Very briefly, the famous author and educator G.K. Chesterton once said, "Education is simply the soul of a society as it passes from one generation to another." Evidence you live in fantasy is why you are ignoring against the infiltration of foreign adversaries like the Chi-Com subjects, we'll talk about that another time, and domestic ideologues. Because you're more transfixed our cultures with mutilating teen breasts and penises and teaching 9-year-old males perform oral sex on same-age kids. I guess training for pubescent ejaculations a couple years later, unless blockers were used to destroy adolescents. 3 decades ago, I fought with Santa Ana Unified about turning the school over to Planned Parenthood porn predators and their despicable comprehensive sex ed. You and I, folks, and the kids, we all lost. John Dunn and Planned Parenthood won. It really is time for all of you to look in the mirror and see what we all see out here. You don't own the kids, please. And the good news is you're gifted kids in local parentis, in place of the parents. For 1,080 hours per year over 180 days. Teaching core subjects is really the only purpose. But we become the lapdogs for the Queen and King Tuts. That's the teachers union thugs, or basically like BLM's UTLA president precisely. We have great teachers, guys. We have great teachers in this county and throughout. But people got 119 billion last year, while our kids got a 25% dropout rate, and the other 75% graduated at 35% proficiency. Not in Orange County, but that was the second largest peer ed district in USA. Our kids don't need to be groomed by woke peer pressure and sex bots, the transmutilation activists influencing teachers, assistants, and teachers themselves. We don't need you to increase suicide rates by 20 times this anti-God, sick, sex-change ops ideology from hell. As of today, a judge blocked parents yet again being notified if their male or female child is talking to avatar gender roles for a lifetime of misery. Kids don't need their sex organs chainsawed. Often in the sex-change ops. I'm sorry, is that 3 minutes?
Yes.
That was the fastest 3 minutes in history. I'll send it to you guys. Point of the matter is, we need school choice. $15,000 a head. Steel leaves 100. It leaves 10 grand each for you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
1146, to protect K-12 education from communist China using the Confucius Institute as a hostile intrusion into American life,
Yes.
culture, and education. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm here representing the Chinese American Citizens Alliance Lodge of Orange County. It is part of a national organization formed in 1895, and it is the oldest civil rights organization in the nation. Okay, I'll proceed. Personally, I find that the Confucius Institute, Confucianism contradicts Confucius' teaching of personal responsibility, government's responsibility to foster national harmony and welfare of their subjects, respect for the truth. Remember, Communism is founded on class struggle and conflict, collectivism eliminating personal responsibility, supremacy of the Communist Party over the rule of law, supremacy of the Communist Party over the welfare of the people, dominance of the Communist Party over the rule of law, and governing through tyranny. Communism seeks to destroy freedom of speech, thought, public property, and the free market economy. So I urge you to approve your resolution as soon as possible.
Thank you, sir. And Jan Tilly is on deck.
President Shaw, members of the board of whom I am so proud of. As a representative of the Chinese American Citizens Alliance, the Greater San Gabriel Valley Lodge, we support Resolution 1146, sponsored by Congresswoman Michelle Steele, by far the most outspoken elected and probably one of the very, very few elected Asians protecting this nation from the Chinese Communist Party and its controlled government. We also, with most enthusiasm, support Dr. Williams' resolution that goes beyond HR 1146 and applies to California K through 12 schools. The Confucius classroom books, lessons, programs, and events are completely controlled by the Chinese governmental entities under the communist contracts. This resolution, Dr. Williams, will expose the infiltration of the communist Chinese government in our K through 12 schools, over 500 of them in this nation, and it will expose it through the Confucius classroom programs. This is a necessary protection for all of our young, vulnerable students to protect them from communist indoctrination and propaganda. This is particular and extremely important timing, since many of you are aware of the news that China has accelerated its threatening actions in America to achieve its declared goal to become the world's leader. For disclosure purposes, you heard what John G. said about the Chinese American Citizens Alliance, a national organization. We have been strong advocates of Proposition 209, the constitutional protection against racial preferences, as well as other civil rights issues. Thank you, the Board of Education of Orange County, for being consistent over the years on the issues of parental and student rights protection, and for encouraging academic education over controversial indoctrination.
Hello, distinguished members of the board. My name is Jan Keeley. You can probably tell that I'm not part of the American Chinese, but I do have something to say about the communism. I was born and raised in former USSR, and I know I'm going to give you a little bit perspective of where it started. If you all want to go to YouTube and look at the defector in 1985 of KGB, Yuri Bezganov, you'll understand how it all started. It started with Khrushchev in UN banging the shoe on the podium and said, "We will destroy you from within." And this is when it started, really. It started in 1965, okay? And now we see the true labor, and the Chinese were so smart enough, and they took it, that mental after the Soviet Union disintegrated, and they continue to destroy us from within. If you look at that 12-minute interview on YouTube, you'll find out that not only that they're trying to destroy our education, but you'll see that the beginning of DEI, CRT, it's all there. They devised a 6-point plan and introduced it into the universities, and they said that it takes about 15 to 25 years to indoctrinate a couple of generations. And now we see the fruits of that labor. And the Chinese Communist Party with the Confucius in our now K1 to K12, including the colleges and universities, continuing to destroy us from within. So thank you, Mr. Williams, for introducing this very important 1146. And I hope that everybody will support it, and we should stop it at any means necessary, because this is not the America that I came here as a refugee in 1977. I do not recognize it anymore. So please help us fight it. Thank you.
Michelle O'Brien, and on deck is Sean.
Good evening, President Shaw and distinguished board members. My name is Michelle O'Brien. I'm a mom, a grandma, and a taxpayer. I'm here in support of the resolution to request that the state conduct a study to determine the extent of the CCP, its government, and others that have infiltrated our K through 12. This subject is near and dear to my heart. I have quite a few friends who have escaped communist countries for a better life in America. They have been sounding the alarm that communists have been going after our kids for years. Finally, parents and grandparents and guardians too are awake. This must be addressed and stopped. My dad risked his life for 22 years every single day to defend America. He fought in World War II, Vietnam, and Korean communist wars. Millions of men and women lost their lives just for us. It's time we stand and say, enough. We are not, nor will we ever become a socialist or communist country.
Yes.
We must protect this and future generations. If you haven't read The Great Parent Revolt by Lance Izumi, I highly recommend it. It talks about critical race theory in the classroom, experiences from African Americans, a Muslim woman, and many more. It's time to take action. Thank you. Thank you.
Sean from the park, and then May S.
Good evening, board member, Lewis County Board of Education. My name is Sean. I now call this country my home. I was not born here. I became American, so I call this my home. So I'm American first, Chinese second. That's how I call it. I don't call myself Chinese American. I call American first, Chinese second.
Amen.
So I want to quote something here. At one point, Abraham Lincoln was asked, "At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected?" And he answered this. I answered, if it ever reaches us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. What I'm saying is, I'm supporting the board member Ken Williams for the resolutions basically. So what I'm saying is, why not leave our kids just be free-minded Americans? Where just we focus on educations. Let not we just convert our minds with foreign ideology. We embrace Chinese culture, but we're not. I came here to adapt. I'm not expecting that the Americans should adapt to Chinese culture. I came here so I can adapt with American culture. Thank you.
And Sue Y is on deck.
Hi, thank you so much, all the board. Thank you so much for your time. My name is May. I'm here to support the resolutions 1146. The reason I do that because my grandparents risked his life just to protect his family from the Communist Party, and they bring their even very young kids, a boy that come, which is my own father. I don't think many people here understand. A lot of young people or people that in this country understand how bad it is, the situations for my grandparents willing to risk their life. I have my own children. I have my 3 kids. I will not go anywhere, risk myself if there is not something that's really bad. And I believe why my grandfathers do that, because the Communism Party is really bad. I'm not gonna talk about further anything else, but I encourage that probably in the school educations teach a real history, because right now I see the history of this country has been changing. And so by knowing if they are not experienced the way we experienced, or my grandparents experienced, I think it is great if we teach our children to know how to read and research and have a free-minded and not being controlled by changing the history or by giving all the communism and also for the social one. So once again, thank you so much for bringing this issue. And I want that resolutions 1146 to be passed ASAP. Thank you.
Followed by Honey Cash.
Hi, my name is Sue. I support resolution 1146.
And followed by Grace Lucida.
Can I just say, for the first time, I've been to a board meeting for a school, that I don't have to be angry. That it's actually a breath of fresh air to know that you guys are working with us and not against us. So of course, now I can't remember what I want to say. Other than I'm in support of the resolution that you guys are submitting. And please do it quickly. We all can see what is happening to this country. And it should scare every single one of us just a little bit. And if there's anything that we can do to stop it, it definitely starts with every single person in this room, and then some. I can't even imagine what this country would be like if it goes down that route. Can any of you? I mean, have you guys drawn that line in your mind of what it's gonna take for you guys to stand up and do something? Because we're there. Thank you for standing up for the kids and for looking out for the education they're receiving and being pro-America, because I walk in front of too many boards and they are so anti-America, it's disgusting. So I really do appreciate you guys doing this and putting this forth, because they're not gonna get our kids. Not with us in the room. It won't happen. You guys have a good day.
Thank you. And then followed by Laura Taylor.
Yes, I want to recognize the honorable board members, and I'm very grateful to be standing up in front of a podium and a microphone for the first time at one of these meetings. This lady here gave me the courage and encouragement to stand here. And I've been asking God for the fortitude to do this. I don't have much to say, but I know that the biggest power word that I want to share with you is support. And I want to support Dr. Williams and the resolution 1146 over the Confucius confusion that's going on in the classrooms and the debacle. So I'm a person of a lot of words, but yet tonight I'm just asking and presenting my support, and I thank you for your support in doing what we're all doing. And I'm grateful to be standing here to have the courage to speak to you tonight.
I'm going to make this short and sweet. I support Dr. Williams' resolution on HR 1146. I too have a grandfather who fought for the freedoms of this country. In God we trust. This is our country. Under the Constitution, we need to protect our kids, our citizens, our freedoms. Thank you, board, for being here and standing up for those rights. Thank you.
Today I want to identify myself as Big Mike. It's coming out. It's gonna be the new. I just came from Wuhan.
wow.
You guys are being so full, so stupid. The new drugs, the new disease is coming out. It's called BS 24/7. Be ready.
Come closer
BS 24/7, and I'm so surprised. First time I don't have any Antifa outside. None of you board member wearing a diaper mask. And you're not Karen. The only time I see Karen is someone who in the car and wear diapers. And yes, I just came from Wuhan, and no joke, you guys are being fooled. And you know, funny, the lady speaking Red Ribbon Week. Our own government, the one who's doing the drug cartel. That's true. Yeah. Red Ribbon is BS. It's just another money to spend out for you guys. And then one day it say, "In God we trust." How many of you board members believe in God? I hope it means something. And I'm surprised I don't see any flag LGTB barbecues in here. That's how I say it. LGTB barbecue. And I might be Big Mike today, tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know what kind of sex I have. But, you know, you guys have a book at the school, Dick, Suck, Cock. I don't know what it means, but I'm sure you do because the book is at the library. And this is no joke. And I was at the Huntington BC School District yesterday, and they got all paid. The people that come in, the whole thing is all paid by Joe Sor to come to a meeting. I'm so proud of you, school district, because none of you guys are that. You are the people here. You're actually here, but they are paid for by Joe Sor to come and talk when they don't even live there, but pretend to be living in Huntington Beach. And none of it here. So I'm pretty impressed. Either nobody tell them what to do, I don't know what, but this is pretty impressive. But anyway, Big Mike.
Thank you.
He's coming out. Big Mike coming to town.
Thank you.
I haven't been to them. I have to check as well. So just let me know. Let me know.
Mike Tardif is up, and followed by Janice Koppel.
Good evening, board president and board members. My name is Mike Tardif. I'm a longtime resident of Orange County. I'm here in support of Dr. Williams' resolution for 1146 HR. I'd like to read you a little excerpt from a news report from News Nation. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are launching a probe after a report revealed public schools across the U.S. have received more than $17 million in funding from the Chinese Communist Party through culture and language programs. This news report came out just a couple of weeks ago. Parents Defending Education calls them little red classrooms and says the Chinese Communist Party funds them through Confucius Institutes over the past 14 years. These institutes say it is their goal to teach language and culture, but Parents Defending Education claims their purpose is to further the Communist Party's global influence. Xi Jinping believes that China will not be stopped from imposing its will in ideology onto American citizens. Former intelligence officer Matt Shoemaker said, it provides an opportunity for the teachers or those who work with them to spot who might be a good candidate down the road or who might be sympathetic to their cause and try and shape the next generation that way. So I want to thank you, board members of Orange County, for hopefully you will vote to support Dr. Williams' resolution, also in support of HR 1146. Thank you.
Followed by Rosie Avila.
Hi, my name is Janice Koppel, and actually I used to be a teacher in Saddleback Valley School District. And I do want to say to all of you Board of Trustees, you have always advocated for the children and you have always supported we teachers. So I really appreciate that. Really happy to see that Dr. Williams put out HR 1146. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for protecting our children from the curriculum. And I know that you do watch over our curriculum and you are watching over what is happening in our schools. Thank you so much, and I do hope you approve this resolution. Thank you.
Before you speak, we do have a decorum policy, so may I ask you to not hold up papers while others are speaking or create any distraction. We're going to have the speaker be the a focus of attention for that time. Thank you.
So
Rosie, followed by Mike, and Pat McConaughey, looks like.
I'm next.
You're after. Okay, yeah.
Oh, I'm next.
I want to thank all of you board members for the opportunity to address you and for all your good work that you've done through the years. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, and for this opportunity to speak to you. I come here as a school board member for 17 years in Santa Ana Unified, but really I come here because I'm a mother of 5, a grandmother of 12, and we cannot be too careful what our children are taught, because what we teach them, the influences we bring into them is what produces the type of person that we have. So I'm just so supportive of this resolution that finally there's some people investigating what is happening in our schools. For years and years, people just all go with the flow and it's okay. But it's no longer okay because we have seen more and more pieces of the picture of what is happening to our country. And so we do have to be very, very diligent as to what is happening. We've seen all of our children grow up to become socialist advocates. And socialism is a wonderful thing, except that it's so contrary to who we are that it has to be enforced with the strong arm of communism, which imprisons everybody, silences everybody. And because that's the only way. People don't want to live under a socialist communist system. So it's very tyrannical. I was born in Guatemala, and when Guatemala was becoming communist, my dad started speaking out because he had come from Europe and he had known about communism. But we came here, but he had just become a Christian through missionaries, and then he sent my oldest brother to school in Guatemala. Is that a stop? Okay. And I just want to tell, my oldest brother was taught in school to pray for bread because God said pray for your daily bread. And then the teacher said, open your eyes. Do you see any bread? I don't see any bread on the table. That means there's no God. We have to make sure they don't lie to our children.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Followed by Debbie Ayers.
Good evening, Honorable School Board of Orange County. We're very proud of you. My name is Pat Mycone. I'm a mother of 2, a grandmother of 5, and just a passionate person who wants to keep our country free. We are in a Marxist revolution in our country. I think we all know it. And I just want to say I'm grateful to Dr. Ken Williams for bringing up this resolution 1146, and I hope you will pass it tonight. Vote on it and pass it. And I just want to say I'm just so grateful to all the people before me who spoke for me, spoke from their heart about their history, especially for people who are from other countries, who came from communist countries. I mean, things are happening pretty fast. They started out slow 60 years ago, and now we're coming to a crescendo. So let's all be vigilant, and in God we trust. And I thank you for everything you do. I'm grateful for everybody who came tonight to show support.
Followed by Jabil Kern.
Hi, I do want to thank all the people that are naturalized citizens that came from countries that were, that were under a communist government. And I think that says it all. I wish there were high school and grade school kids here to hear all this. And anyway, I was going to say that we shouldn't allow any of this kind of curriculum, but I think too this should be investigated on how the Chinese are, worming their way into our educational system. And I do believe this is a great reminder to all of us who have grown up in freedom to be grateful and to defend our God-given rights as American citizens. And I think it should be more emphasized in our classrooms. So anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah, hello everybody, and thanks for allowing me to speak. I'm not ashamed to say that God is good, God is great, this is the greatest country on the face of the planet. And I think everybody in this room loves this country. And, you know, we've come here for different reasons. 150 years ago, my forefathers, my great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather came here because there were a lack of potatoes in Ireland. We all come here for different reasons. I'm a married guy, 5 kids. In fact, my wife's from the Middle East, okay? I have 2 son-in-laws, one from Vietnam and one from Japan. And I'm happy to say that, you know, we're representing here what's beautiful about America, okay? We all adopt, we all get along. We've got our unique culture and experiences that we bring here and we celebrate it, okay? But again, we celebrate freedom and the ability to think individually and to think for the greater good. I wholeheartedly, without a doubt, do support this resolution. I support Congressman Steele's bill. I support Mr. Williams' bill. And, you know, without a doubt, God bless America. And let's stand for freedom. We're at a crossroads here in America. We have a choice. Are we going here? Are we going there? The line has clearly been drawn. And unless you people wake up, we're going to lose our country. God bless America all the time.
My name is Pam, and I'm a wife, mother, grandmother of 2 activists and patriotic citizens of this great county and country of ours. I'm here this evening to speak in favor of Dr. Ken Williams' resolution, H.R. 1146. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm also here to speak in favor of this resolution. Thank Dr. Williams for it. I strongly support H.R. 1146 as well. I just want to echo some of the comments that I've heard. I was born 1 month after Pearl Harbor in 1942. Do the math on that. I too, like another speaker said, do not recognize my country. I never imagined that I would be saying something like this. But I think it must be said because we are living in truly unique, troubling, and dark times. And we owe it to our children and our grandchildren to never give up. It is our prerogative to make the choices as to whether or not we are going to do everything in our power to turn this country around for the sake of those who follow us, or let it fall victim to totalitarianism. And I think what bothers me the most here is, actually, I probably should say it this way, I think what scares me the most, and I'm not a fearful person because I know God's in charge, I think what scares me the most is how many of our citizens are coming to accept totalitarianism as almost like the new norm. So I'm saying to everybody in this room, and I'm saying to everybody outside this room who may hear my voice today and in the remaining days that I have, stand up, fight back.
Yes.
Yes.
We have a country to save.
Yes.
We truly do have a country to save. And the country we're trying to save once was the greatest nation on this planet. God bless America.
Yes.
Good evening, board members. My name is Cecilia Iglesias. President Shaw, congratulations. I am here in support of House Resolution 1146, sponsored by Congresswoman Michelle Steele. I'm too a former school board member from Santa Ana Unified School District, and I saw the injustices that they were doing to our kids and the indoctrinations that were happening in the classrooms. That's why I stand up for those parents that are not able to be here, but I know that they would want me to speak for them because they don't want things to repeat from the countries that they've been coming from. I support Dr. Williams' resolution that applies to California's K-12 schools. This is a necessary protection for all of our young students from communist indoctrination and propaganda. This is extremely important since the news have been telling us that China has accelerated its threatening actions in America and towards America. I also want to thank Dr. Williams for always being consistent over the years on advocating for parental rights and students' protection. Thank you very much, and like everybody says, may God bless America, and we all hit this together. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak, and I totally support and hope that you pass HR 1146. I was born in the Philippines, and my father was a lifer in the United States Navy, very proudly. And when I became a U.S. naturalized citizen, it was a great, great honor, because this country is a melting pot where we can come from all over the world and assimilate and be proud. We can still celebrate our culture, but also be proud Americans, and that's what I love about this country. This country is the beacon of light on the hill that all the other people in the world want to come here because they know that this is a country of opportunity and freedom where they can pursue their happiness. Except for the leaders of other countries that are communists and tyrants. They're a little bit jealous, so they can't enslave their people in communism and tyrannical domination if they keep escaping to America. So this country, we have to protect it. This is the beacon of light. We love our country, and God we trust, as we all said. In 1938, Mao Zedong had a 100-year plan to take down this country. They couldn't defeat it economically or militarily, but he could defeat it from inside. It is enemies within. They infiltrated the schools, the churches, government, and the universities, the professors, etc. We have to take this country back. We have to stand on our feet. We have to rise up. All of the people, that God-fearing people, have to rise up as proud patriots. I have 9 nieces and nephews, and I fear their future. Okay, I fear for their future because I want them to love this country. I want them to have the freedoms. I want them to know what it's like to be absolutely free to pursue their dreams and their opportunities. And when we are choked by tyrants and communism, by the CCP, all that freedom is gone. And all we will have in this country is darkness. And that is not us. We are God-fearing people, and God is our love and light inside of us. And we must be the ones who shine that light all around us. So we must rise up, all of us. Rise up and fight for this country, the families, and for the children. They're after the children, and we all know this.
But my name's Jesse, by the way. If the famous coach Vince Lombardi was alive today, he would say his famous line, "What the hell is going on out here?" Communism. I've experienced communism. 20 years ago, I went to Cuba. A friend of mine bugged me to go. I go, no, it's communist, it's communist. I finally said, okay, let's go. I went there, we got off the plane. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see, you know, it's a little leery, communist country. We went to a hotel, we went out that night. Do you know what communism does to women? This is what I found out what communism does to women. Everywhere I walked, I couldn't walk 20 feet without some lady coming up to me, young lady, you know, at that time, 18, 20, coming up to me and say, oye, papi, te invito a hacer el amor. That means, I invite you to make love to me. Only $100, that's all, only $100. And I'm looking at them, what? No thanks. And I've met the guys there, talking to the men there. I asked them, hey, so tell me about communism, you know, what is it? And what they told me there, I asked, well, how much do you work? Yeah, okay. How much do you make a month? Or how do you get paid? He goes, I make $15 a month. How are you gonna live on $15 a month? Now you know why communism makes whores out of women. And when we would walk in the streets, I had to walk 6 feet behind him. Does that sound familiar? I had to walk 6 feet behind him. One day, he was next to me and a cop saw us and he goes like this, because obviously I didn't look Cuban. He goes like this. He asked me where I was from. I said, U.S. He asked my friend, he goes, I'm Cuban, arrested him because he was talking to me because I was an American from the USA. So I had to call his girlfriend, hey, they arrested, you died. So we had to wait 3 hours to release him. So I've experienced communism, it's not good. Oh, and also, I asked him, how do you guys eat? How do you make money to eat? He goes, well, we have to stand in long lines to get our food. It's free, but we have to wait like 3-4 hours for us to get our food. Don't Cuba my USA.
When's you? Patty's up first.
Pat.
And then when? Patty?
He took my number.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'll go up.
You can be Patty too. She could be Patty too.
Can I go up? Yes.
Your turn, your turn.
Good evening, board. I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Ken Williams for always doing what's right for his community. And thank you to the board for doing the same every time you sit there. I don't know what communism is like because I'm born and raised here. Anything that I've learned from it has been from people that I have met at different meetings, many friends here. And from what they tell me, it sounds like one of the scariest things that I would never want to experience. So I'm grateful that you want to support Michelle Steele in this because many of us don't know what communism will do to this country. And there's too many people fighting to not allow it to come in here. Those that have fled, that have taken time out of their day to come here to share their personal stories. I just wanted to say thank you.
And that will be our last speaker.
Your Honorable Board of Orange County Board of Education members, and I am Wing Chu, that's my real Chinese name pronunciation. And I was born in Shanghai, and you guys never have any idea how horrible the communist country is. You never feel safe. You never know the police will knock the door anytime. They can take your family members away and send somewhere you never know. No trial, no trace. It's just one person disappeared. That happened in 2019. They Chinese, I say the troop arrested more than 1,000 Hong Kong students, and those students right now, no one knows where are they. Okay, I made some script. Okay, I just want to have give you guys a big picture for what happened in this world, and not just in a little, kind of like a point of view. We need to see a big picture. Data provided by Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, and the military expenditure China announced yearly is 2022 is $229.6 billion, and 2023 is $224.8 billion. China keeps increasing defense budget as announced 2 digits of their annual GDP in past 23 years. And China just joined the WTO on year 2000.
Thank you.
Your time's up.
What?
Just stop. It goes fast.
Yeah. It's amazing how fast time goes.
It goes quick.
Well, thank you all so much.
2 minutes only. Yeah.
120 seconds.
So,
I didn't talk my whole time.
I think that was all of our comments for this
Yeah.
item. I do want to thank you. It's very inspiring to hear so many of you. But Dr. Williams, you brought this item, so
yes, I'd like to step over to you. Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make the formal motion for adoption of the resolution and hopefully get a second. I have some more words.
I'll make
to
a
say.
second so we can continue.
Very good. Well, first of all, I want to thank all 23 public speakers who came here. Your passion for liberty and freedom in this country is absolutely meaningful. You know, this is a historical moment, I think, in our culture and our nation here, as we're seeing an attack upon normalcy, attack upon Judeo-Christian value system that made this country great, an attack upon those fundamental laws and bills of right that gave us the constitutional right for the ability to speak and to have free speech. And we're seeing council culture, we're seeing this woke ideology in our youth, and they're being taught these things in high school and college. And I think Congresswoman Michelle Steele's bill, which is HR 1146, speaks to a lot of the troubles that we see in our country and a lot of the cultural divide. You know, we see all these pedagogical theories that are being brought in from the college, university level, and now they're coming down into high school. They're coming down to where the rights of parents to direct the upbringing of their children are being attacked and taken away. We looked at what happened in Maryland. The state court there said that parents don't have the right to direct the upbringing of their children, unlike what has been said previously in many Supreme Court rulings in the past. So that will come. But I think we live in a time and an age where there is this rise of Marxism. We've seen it in the Orange Unified School District recall. We've seen that they actually came there and announced themselves, and they're recalling 2 good trustees, and the lies and mistruths and misrepresentation by the union thugs there is just overwhelming. And by the way, that's an issue that we all need to be involved in, because what they're trying to do is silence parents, take away their rights, and impart a new right, gender rights, sexual rights to kids. That is absolutely incredible. New rights for children, taking away the rights of parents. That is absolutely wrong. So this resolution, if I can address to my dear colleagues up here, I worked with Michelle Steele's office on this, and it's amazing. I was actually dumbfounded with what's happening with these Confucius institutes within our country. Large university institutions are taking millions and millions of dollars and promoting the CCP, which is, for those who don't know what that is, the Chinese Communist Party. And the CCP is now coming into the K through 12 classrooms, and the whole purpose of these Confucius classrooms are to silence and distract the critics of communism and communist China. And we've had, again, 23 speakers that are here today that spoke to that. The teachers in these Confucius classrooms take discussions away from the real true issues of China, which is the rights of Taiwan to be independent and have their own government and democracy. We know that CCP stands trouncing their foot upon the Tibet community. They will not allow the discussion at Tiananmen Square and the lives that were lost there for those students who are trying to fight for their liberties and freedoms. They won't talk about what happened to the great city of Hong Kong, which stood as a beacon of freedom and light for over a century, and now that light has gone out because of the CCP. We look at the military industrial complex of what's happening in China with the South China Sea that China is claiming. Or even worse is the human rights abuse to the Uyghur Muslim communities, where they're basically becoming slaves and their work is being exploited. So this resolution talks about a lot, and it's really deep, and I had to really edit out and reduce a lot of the language. And I welcome you to read it in its entirety, the actual bill. by Michelle Steele is called Stop Higher Education Espionage and Theft Act of 2023. And Michelle Steele, along with Ms. Stefanik and Mr. Crenshaw, are the ones that introduced this there in Washington, D.C. But this resolution, besides endorsing Congressman Steele's bill, it's making a recommendation to the state, and this is where it may take some time, but I'm going to recommend that on our letterhead signed by our board president, we make this resolution request for the state commission looking at what's happening here with these Confucius classrooms. It goes to all the people here in California, such as the state public, Mr. Thurman, state superintendent of public instruction, as well as the educational chairs from both the Assembly and the Senate, the State Board of Education, the CSBA, our own county boards of education, and perhaps we can engage Mr. Tom Shealy to help us get this word out and to create a commission that will look at the Confucius classrooms. I do have a question to our respectable Dr. Miramontes. Do we know if there are any of these Confucius classrooms in theory being taught in any of our classrooms?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're aware of.
So I know at Access School Center.
Use the mic.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyd. So I know that in our access schools, that are special schools which we're responsible for, there are none. And I don't believe there are any in the county either.
Okay.
But I can find out for you.
That would be wonderful.
I meet with the superintendents this Friday, so I could ask the superintendents.
Thank you, sir. Sure. You're very honorable. So, you know, the words that were shared by the people talking today, I want to direct your kind words to me, but it's everybody here. It's not me. It's all five of us here who believe in the same values that you all believe in. And we so deeply appreciate and are moved by your presence, that you've taken your personal time to be here. Thank you very much. We are about protecting our children. We are about protecting their innocence and opposing anybody that would take away that innocence. And that's a shared vision by my board. So with that,
thank you, Dr. Williams, and I would echo many of the comments. We all know where Dr. Williams stands, and I'm proud to stand with you. Trustee Barkey, do you have any comments to second this motion?
No, I'd just like to thank Dr. Williams and the whole board for their support, and everyone here showing your support. We appreciate it when the community comes out. It tells us that we're being public servants and serving you, so we appreciate you coming out.
Thank you. Trustee Valdez?
I just want to say I was particularly moved by 23 people all siding on the same issue, which is rare at board meetings like this. I was particularly persuaded by the Chinese American or American Chinese constituency that came down to speak tonight. That was very moving. My father was a Cuban refugee in 1959 who fled before Castro took over while Batista was still the president of Cuba. So, I mean, I certainly heard a lot of stories. I've obviously never lived in a communist country, although my wife lived in communist Poland before she immigrated here. So even though Dr. Miramontes has said that this is not, these Confucius Institute classrooms are not in Orange County, I still think the resolution is important because we don't want them in Orange County. So.
Thank you for those comments, Dr. Sparks.
Yeah, I have a few things to say on this. I have more experience with this than you might think on the surface. As an academic myself, you know, I'm sort of in the underbelly of the beast every day, right? And about a year ago, there's an article that came out by VOA talking about the controversial Confucius Institutes returning to the U.S. schools under new names. So that's something that people need to be aware of.
Yes.
Confucius Institutes are, the controversial Beijing-backed language and cultural learning centers, most of which were closed throughout the United States after being designated a foreign mission by the State Department, are rebranding and reopening, according to a report by the National Association of Scholars. Of the 118 Confucius Institutes that once existed in the United States, 104 were closed as of June 21, about a year ago, and 4 more were in the process of shutting down. Of those, at least 28 have replaced their Confucius Institute with a similar program, and at least 58 have maintained close relationships with their former Confucius Institute partner. How many have been shut? How many are rebranding with new names? I see this happen all the time in the academic world. I want you to know my personal understanding and experience with these Confucius Institutes and the ways that they use academic malware and language to inject into the university system of higher ed. I've seen it at many different institutions. In 1987, I had my first experience as a student studying abroad, and I spent spring break in then communist Russia. And I was a photographer, and I took pictures of, I was a 20-year-old student taking pictures, and people stole my film out of my hotel room. And I was just taking pictures as a kid, That's just one of many stories that I have from that time, and that opened my eyes way back then in 1987. Okay, fast forward, I've taken travel courses to communist Cuba. And I have exposed our undergraduate students at Chapman University to the messaging that goes on, the propaganda that goes on in the communist system. I gave them an activity where I gave them 20 of the convertible pesos to go into a government-run store and see how much food they could get, because that was the amount that a family would get to eat on for a week. And they came back to the bus with one head of lettuce, one of them brought me some flowers, of course, right? But very little. They would come back to the bus with that assignment that I gave them, and it really opened their eyes. So there are some students that are getting an education. Not all professors are fitting your stereotype. Many of us are trying to really bring a balanced approach to education. In terms of K-12, I don't know exactly what's going on in K-12. I do know some professors that I actually know and or staff members who worked in Confucius Institutes at my former institution of George Mason University. So I also think that that back then in 2004, when these were first springing up, I think a lot of universities didn't know and weren't aware that it was the government, the Chinese government infiltrating at the time. Now, at some point they probably did, I do not know, but I do want to throw that out. And then to the point about academic freedom, which I am very much in favor of academic freedom, these institutes actually are doing the opposite, because they are actually not telling the real story and repressing a lot of the information for students that are exposed to their curriculum. So those are other things that I think we need to be aware of. I am pro-academic freedom in all things, particularly more so in higher ed than in K-12, where it's a prescribed curriculum. Nonetheless, I think we all need to be sort of aware that we don't want government entities coming into our institutes of K-12 as well as higher education. So I just wanted to share that because I have a lot more experience with this than people may have thought on the surface. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, Dr. Williams.
Just one more thing that I'd like to share. Rosie, where are you, Rosie? Rosie, my dear friend, as I have shared many times in the past, you're my mentor, my dear friend. And when I came on the school board in 1996, you served as that individual, guiding me, giving me insight. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My only comment, as everyone was speaking, I teach a political science class part-time, and I have a section on the Cold War, and I show my students a video, the building of the Berlin Wall. And it always strikes me when you're watching that, and when a government has to put a wall on the border with guns pointed in to keep the people in, you kind of tells you everything you probably need to know about communist governments. Is people are doing everything they could to get out of there, and they have to everyone was leaving, so they have to put a wall up and put the guns in to keep people in. So what a commentary that is. So thank you again for all your comments and from my colleagues. So I think we heard a motion from Dr. Williams and seconded by
I just
Trustee
have
Barkey.
one little edit that I noticed on page 43 on point number 3 at the very end. It says recommended high education. I would say higher education institutions. And then I would take out the word and after it says K-12 school districts scrutinize foreign funding and curricula. I would just take out the word and to have a complete sentence there.
A friendly amendment, sounds good.
Very good. So with those edits, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Let's go, Brandon! Let's go, Brandon! Let's go! This video has been edited by IMovieLORD. Lamb Tram. Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar!
Có toán một diễn tham.
Càng nghe nhiều càng tèo, 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 tèo. Càng nghe nhiều càng tèo.
Quan càng to, cu càng teo mo.
Thằng lính dù nào nói khi nhảy dù chim không teo thằng đó xạo.
Mà đa số chúng nó nói xạo thiệt.